This video is an introduction to triangle congruence. We can show that two triangles are congruent to each other, that is, that they have exactly the same size and the same shape, by showing that all of their corresponding sides and all of their corresponding angles are congruent. So in the diagram below, we know that triangle BAC is congruent to triangle JHK because the corresponding sides and angles are marked as congruent to each other. And you can see that from the picture here. So we see that angle B is congruent to angle J, angle A is congruent to angle H, and angle C is congruent to angle K. We also know that segment BA is congruent to segment JH. We also know that segment AC is congruent to segment HK, and that segment BC is congruent to segment JK. The converse of this is also true. If we know that two triangles are congruent to each other, then we know that all of their corresponding angles and corresponding sides are congruent to each other. So if it's given that triangle BAC is congruent to triangle JHK, then we know that angle B is congruent to angle J, angle A is congruent to angle H, angle C is congruent to angle K, BA is congruent to JH, AC is congruent to HK, and BC is congruent to JK. So it goes both ways. If we know that all of their parts are congruent, then we know that the triangles are congruent. If we know that the two triangles are congruent, then we know that all of their parts are congruent to each other. This theorem is abbreviated CPCTC. Corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. Now, as you will see in the next three discovery activities, there are shortcuts to proving triangle congruence. Not all corresponding sides and all corresponding angles need to be shown to be congruent to each other. But in order to understand how these shortcuts work, I need to define a couple terms first. That includes the term included angle and included side. An included angle is the angle formed by two adjacent sides. So here in triangle ABC, angle B is the included angle between sides AB and BC. That's because segment AB and segment BC form angle B. An included side is the side that is located between two consecutive angles. So in triangle ABC, side BC is the included side between angles B and C because that's the segment or the side of the triangle that is between those two angles. So now I invite you to take a look at the next three discovery activities and learn some shortcuts to showing that two triangles are congruent to each other.